I'm very good at doing that. Okay, hello everyone. Hello, welcome to the Lupersom Costco Bordeaux 4-pack tasting. This is the 4-pack that I bought most recently at Costco, and that was a while ago. I'm not sure I remember when, but as I've said in the past, if you want something done in a timely manner, call me. I'll just get it done within a year. That's how I roll. So, hello and good evening, and thank you for sharing your evening with me on this Sunday. Here's some house rules. You eat and drink whenever the hell you want. You drink all four, drink just one, I don't care. If you don't have the Bordeaux 4-pack, doesn't matter. As long as you have a Bordeaux, even if you have Burgundy or Spain, whatever, just join. You jump off whenever you need to. I understand that it's Sunday night, so if you go make dinner or take care of your kids or put someone to bed, that's totally cool. Jump off whenever. If you have any questions after tonight, you could always DM me. If you have questions at the end of this or during this IG Live, what you're going to do is tap the question mark that is inside the dialogue bubble, and that's how I will be able to see your question. I'm not so savvy that I can run the technology and teach at the same time. That's why don't put your questions into the chat or the comments. Be sure to put your questions into the question mark with the dialogue bubble. Okay, so let me tell you what I have going on here. I have the Bordeaux 4-pack. I took them out. This is the order in which I will be tasting them. I'm trying to scoot this back as far as I can without it tipping over. So the first one that we'll taste is the Chateau du Luc. The second one we'll be tasting is the Chateau Le Grand Moulin. That is the, what's funny is a moulin is a, God, what are they called? A wheel. I can't remember the name. That's okay. We'll be tasting that second. We will be tasting the Chateau de la Vie next as a third one. And then to round it out, we're going to do the Chateau de Lide. And let's get started. I have just a few other orders just to share with you. I have 2 spots left in my Spain trip. 2 people had to cancel. So if you are interested in going to Spain with me, June 21st to 28th, it's going to be a kick-ass time. Join, link in my bio. If you have your Lupersom tasting journal handy with you, I will be using mine. If you would like one, the link is in my bio for the electronic one. If you want a hard copy one, DM me, do $30 and I'll ship it out. We also have, Lupersom is working on something with blind tasting and blind dating. But it's not just going to be anyone who's just like wooking putting up. It is going to be a way to expand your friend circle and your wine-loving circle. So please sign up for my newsletter because the information is going to be disseminated through there, not through IG. That link is also in my bio to sign up for my newsletter. Okay, let's get started. So I use a dry erase. I don't know where the hell it is. I use a dry erase for my glasses. So the first one we're tasting is the Chateau de Luc. I will tell you this. I smelled this before, and I was like, smells pretty good. I went through the other ones, and they kind of smell right now like a dirty mop head. But we'll see. Sometimes it can smell really stinky, but then taste really delicious. So again, we will see. So I have my Lupersom tasting journal. I wrote it out. Vintage is 2022. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but Costco did something super cool on the back of the 4-pack this year. They gave you a map, which is awesome, and also gave you the varietal breakdown and a tasting note. I thought that was great. Way to go, Costco. So let's just get started with the first wine. So this is the Chateau du Luc. This is from Côte de Bourg. I'm going to show you a map in just a second, but I want to get wine into your system. So let's go. Okay, so the appearance of this is ruby. It is, I'd call that medium, and it is clear on the nose. Red berries, eucalyptus. Write that down. Red berries, eucalyptus. There's a little bit of a menthol, mint note, herbal. You could just say herbal if it smells like other herbs to you. You might get thyme or fresh oregano. Let's go back to the fruits. It smells pretty red, which would indicate to me either an earlier ripening grape variety like Merlot. Smells pretty plush. Red plums too. Okay. Does it smell anything out of the earth besides herbs? Super fresh mushrooms. Like right out of the dirt with the dirt still on them. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's put it on our palate. I'm gonna swallow that. One way to figure out the structure of wine, particularly the acidity, is to do something that isn't so attractive, but is really helpful in figuring out where the acidity is. The first sip of wine, I don't know how much you've been drinking or cocktailing before this. I have not been. But if it's your first sip, it usually is a little bit of a shock to your palate. So I always taste the first wine at least twice. So let's taste it again. And then what we're going to do to evaluate the acidity is after you swallow it, you're going to hang your mouth open. And you're going to pay attention to how much you salivate, how quickly you salivate, and how much you salivate, how much it pools right behind your bottom teeth. Okay, let's go. Okay, swallow, hang your mouth open. Okay, ooh, vibrant, zingy acidity. I like it. So the acidity, I'm going to put it high. The body, medium. Sugar, this is a dry wine. The tannins, ooh. So the tannins are the things that dry out your mouth. And if you feel like your tongue is drying out, like it's feeling a little sandpapery or like cat tongue, and it feels like it's being like it's scratching behind your top teeth, or you have all those ridges on your palate. I feel like the acidity is higher than the tannins. So I might do somewhere between medium and medium plus. Let's do medium plus. Why not? Why not? The alcohol, this is medium intensity. This is medium intensity. The finish, as we've been talking, I'm sorry, I'm the only one talking. As I've been talking, I still taste the wine. I'm going to put this long. I'm going to do it long. Do I like this wine? Hell yes, I do. I do like this wine. So have another sip, and then I'm going to do my best not to stop this live. What I'm going to do is show you a map of Bordeaux, and also very particular to Bordeaux and really Western Europe, an image of the Gulf Stream, because that is one of the most important climactic things that makes Bordeaux tick. So have another sip, and then I'll throw up an image. I also want to know, throw into the comments too, like, what are you eating with this? Okay, let me see if I can do this. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, so yes, oh my God, bitches, this is so good. So one of the things, the climactic things that makes Bordeaux is the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream is a warm ocean current. It's not an air current. It's an ocean current that originates in the Gulf of Mexico. It travels up the east coast of the United States. It warms up the east coast, and then it crosses the Atlantic, and then it becomes the North Atlantic Drift. And it warms up, as you can see, as it goes up and around England and Spain. And in there is France. And it blows it's a warm ocean current that comes up and creates a warm, humid environment for Bordeaux. So let's get into other Bordeaux. I'm going to choose a different asset, and I'm going to show you Bordeaux. Here's Bordeaux. You'll see on the, I think it's the top right if this is the top right for me, you'll see a grayed out image of France. And then you'll see a little tiny red dot, and that is Bordeaux. That is where Bordeaux is geographically in the country of France. And then we have this fantastic map. Look at this. And so we're drinking the Côte du Bourg. Côte du Bourg is where it's a medium tan, and it is where the rivers split. So if you see the top, Libournais, just under that is Côte du Bourg. It's going to be predominantly Merlot. Merlot is grown all over in Bordeaux. What's great about Bordeaux is that it's almost always going to be a blend of different grape varieties. Why is that? That's because historically it's had really shitty weather. So the Bordelais, they grow these different grape varieties that bud and ripen at different times. So if you have an early budding grape like Merlot, it might get caught in a spring frost, but it is also a mid ripener. So if it doesn't freeze from any kind of spring frosts, you are almost always guaranteed that it will achieve full ripeness before the end of the season, before the autumn rains come. But then you might plant a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon, which is a late budding grape variety, which means all the spring frosts happen and then Cabernet Sauvignon buds, but then it's a late ripening grape variety. So it might get smacked with autumn rains or an early frost. And then you have Malbec, Carmenere, Petit Verdot, and those have different budding and ripening stages as well. So they're kind of like hedging their bets. They're like, well, if it's a shitty frost year, or if it's an early vintage, or if it's a cool and rainy vintage, we're guaranteed that our Merlot is going to ripen, but maybe not our Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's almost always a blend. How about that? Isn't that fun? It's so fun. Geography is so much fun, you guys. Okay, so since we tasted that, we're going to taste it one more time. And then we're going to jump into the second one, which is going to be the Chateau Le Grand Moulin. This is what we're going to taste next. But we are going to finish up with this. Taste this one more time. If you're eating with food, I hope you're having it with something fatty and delicious. I hope you notice that when you have that fatty deliciousness on your palate, the tannins, the things that dry out your mouth, they kind of dissipate and go away, or they soften. You'll also notice if you're eating something fatty, whether that's cheese or lamb chop lollipops or mushroom risotto like I have over here, the fat will coat your palate, but then all that bright acidity that we notice when we hung our mouths open, all that acidity cleans your palate and just cleanses it so you can taste both the wine and the food. I like that. Do I like this wine? Yes, I do. So what I'm going to do with this one, mental note, because I bought 2 of these packs. I will, oh my God, it's March 1st. Happy March 1st, inventory day. When do I want to taste this again? We can either taste this maybe November or about a year from now. So sometime, God, what month is that? 11, and we're in month 3. So 8 to 12 months is when we'll taste this. So retaste, 8 to 12 months. And I'm going to make a note, November to March. Great. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I like that one. I can't even believe that these come out to like $8 and change. This is ridiculous. Okay, so we've tasted that. Fantastic. Let's do our Chateau Le Grand Moulin. This first one, or this one I first smelled it, rather. I was like, oh, dirty mop head in the custodial closet. So let's do that again and see if it has changed. No, it's still really there, and I don't like the nose at all, actually, but I'm gonna shut up and be a professional here. Okay. Whew. It does also smell, if I take my subjective hat off and put on my objective hat, a box of brand new pencils. Oof. I didn't do the appearance. Okay, so this is a ruby. It is deep intensity. It is clear. Let's go back to the nose. It smells darker. The fruits are darker. You might be getting a darker plum or darker cherry. I'll just put dark cherry and plum. Are we getting anything that comes out of the ground? It does have a little bit of forest floor, almost like damp bark. Freshly tilled earth. You also might get potting soil. Let's put it on our palette, even though it kind of smells funny. I'll swallow that. Oh, it's better on the palate. Woohoo! Yes. Notice how much more vegetal it tastes. Do you taste more green bell peppers that are fresh and crunchy? You might also get, if you smell a shishito pepper, what else am I getting in there? It is also the bitter notes of, like, at the end of endive. Let me start writing that down. Endive. What else did I say? Bell pepper, green bell pepper. I like that a lot better on the palate than I did on the nose. The nose, I was like, hoo-wee. But this is much better. Okay, so we're going to do the acidity test with this one as well. Have another sip. God, I'm going to get lit by the end of these. I'm a lightweight. Okay. Open your mouth. The acidity is not as high on this one as it was on the Chateau du Luc, the first one. So the acidity, I'm going to put medium plus. The tannins, the things that dry out your mouth, those are much more present, aren't they? They are more ample. There seems to be a surplus of them, but notice how small and well knit they are. So the tannins, I'm going to go medium plus. I don't think they're quite high. The alcohol is medium. The body is medium. Sugar is dry. The intensity, I feel like it's a tick higher than medium. You know what though? I'm going to keep it at medium. Keep it at medium. The finish, so as we're talking, as you and I are talking, the finish, it's not quite as long as, so I'm going to put medium. I'm going to put medium and maybe a little arrow to like a third of the way through. Okay. Do I like this wine? I do like this wine. But what I'm going to write in the notes is nose didn't like, palate better. Palate better. Much more savory, right? Let's have another sip. Have another sip and have it with some food and see how it changes. Ooh, you know what I'm getting on the next sip? Sweet tobacco. Let me write that down, sweet tobacco. So, note to self, I opened all of these up at 6:30 when I put up the post on Instagram, like, hey, it's going to be 30 minutes from now. So these have now been open for 55 minutes. And I feel like this one is really starting to show a little bit better. Okay, so the tannins also, I'm going to say finish. The finish is really driven by both the tannins and the vegetal herbal notes. Finish driven by, I'm going to put bell pepper so I don't screw that up. Bell pepper and tannins. Okay. So just as because I see someone is is putting questions into the comments. Thank you for the questions. I can't see them because the comments go like this. So if you have a question, be sure to pop it into the dialogue bubble that has a question mark in it. That way, at the end of this tasting, I'll be able to see them. So I'm going to have, excuse me, a bite first, small bite. Mushroom risotto, because mushrooms and Bordeaux love each other. Oh, isn't that delightful? Oh my God. Fucking Costco, man. What the hell? I don't get it. I really don't. Because Bordeaux, when I tell you that Bordeaux makes oceans of wine, what I really mean is Bordeaux makes galaxies of planets, of oceans of wine. Bordeaux makes so much fucking wine. I'm talking between 700 and 900 million bottles a year. That's a lot of wine. So there's almost always a kind of surplus. And the finest, best wines go through this rigmarole of selection in the vineyard. And then once the grapes hit the crush pad, they go on a vibrating table, and then they can use an optical sorter if it's a really wealthy winery. And so they just keep whittling down to the best grapes. And then, you know, everything is going to be hand harvested. So all of these really fine, ultra fine Bordeaux are going to be expensive because all of that human work and then that work later on. And then they use proper barrels that are super expensive, toasted just the right way. And then you get these guys that have higher yields. They're machine harvested. They are not sorted. They are not picked over for the best grapes. Everything is just kind of thrown in together into a big pool. And then this wine is made in 5-6 weeks. They might throw in a couple of oak chips. They might put it into big old barrels that might put in like 2x4s to infuse some oak flavor into it. And then Costco, I mean, some of these that I've had, because this might be the 4th year that I'm tasting the Costco Bordeaux 4-pack. Excuse me, a handful of them have been real wineries, real chateau. And then some of them are just labels that Costco will work with their broker, and they'll just slap a label on and send it over to the US. And then we get these as Costco members, we get these bottles that are like it's $32.99 for the 4-pack, which is nuts. But I truly am a little gobsmacked at the quality, consistent quality too, that Costco puts out with their Bordeaux. Way to go, Costco. I like this, and I like it with the food. I'm going to put that as well. Better with my mushroom risotto. Okay, third one up is the Chateau de la Vie. We're moving over to Cadillac Côte de Bordeaux. And just to let you into my nerdy noggin for a second, the reason why I went in this procession, this progression rather, I looked at the alcohol levels, and both the first and second wines were 12.5%. And then the two Cadillac Côte de Bordeaux were a full degree higher, 13.5. So I made sure that I put those two last. And I think I put the Chateau du Luc as first because it actually didn't smell like a dirty mop head. And then I put the dirty mop head, Grand Moulin, as the second one. So that was my thinking. All right, so the Chateau de la Vie, oh God, that also smells like dirty mop head. Okay, so let's look at the appearance. That is a deep ruby. It has a thin garnet rim. It is clear. Okay, on the nose. Oh. Okay, God, objective hat goes on. Weird smelling. It also smells quite vegetal. I'm gonna go tomato leaf, black currant, which for me indicates a higher percentage of Cabernet Sauvignon. So let's write that down. Tomato leaf. You also might be getting tomato skin or tomato concentrate, tomato leaf. What else did I say? Black currant. Whoop. It smells a little vegetal. There is almost like cigarette ash. You guys getting that? Cigarette ash. Nothing like licking a dirty ashtray. Am I right? Okay, and then behind it, there is a blacker fruit. There is blackberry, which to me would indicate a riper Merlot or a riper Cabernet Sauvignon. Okay, it's actually getting better. I'm acclimating to it. Give it a swirl, put it on your palate, taste it first time. Ooh. Also better on the palate. Also better on the palate. You know what I'm finding though? Do you notice how it isn't quite as savory as wine number 2, the Grand Moulin? It has a sweeter concentrated core of fruit right in the middle, which is both black and red. It is blackberry. There's a little bit of boysenberry. Is it black or red? But it's a cherry note, like bottom of the yogurt container. Let me start writing this stuff down. Sweet core, if I can spell, sweet core of fruit. I'm going to put black and red. Cherry, what else did I say? Blackberry. There's a boysenberry. I'm going to put not as savory as the Grand Moulin. Okay, great. Let's have a second sip of it, and then we'll do the acidity test with our attractive hanging our mouths open. It does feel weightier on the palate. Okay, acidity. Okay, all right, acidity. This is where it starts to get tricky, where you're like, oh, is it medium plus or is it high? You know what, I'm gonna put high because it is persistent and consistent. The body is still medium, but fuller than the first two. This is a dry wine. The tannins, these are high tannins. Do you notice how much more your mouth is drying, puckering shut? That is from the tannins. So with something like this, because the tannins are higher, and the acidity was also high, you want to do this with a fatty steak. You want to do this with something that has a lot of fat. A lamb chop lollipop would be great. Duck breast would be fantastic. Some kind of like potatoes dauphinoise. Oh my God. Why didn't Ryan make me that tonight? He only made me mushroom risotto, and it was reheated. The alcohol is medium. I love my husband so much. I really do. The intensity. The intensity, I think, is medium, but the finish is long. Notice that as we're talking, we still taste the wine. and it still has that very concentrated core of fruit, and it seems to go up into my nasal cavity. Okay, we're going to taste this one more time, have it with some food. Mushroom risotto. Have another sip. You guys are going to get me liquored on a Sunday. I have to work a double tomorrow. Come on, man. Oh. Good. You know what it does with my mushroom risotto? It makes the wine, it gives the wine the appearance of a more savory note, even though it was much more, it had a much more concentrated core of sweeter fruit. That's quite good. God, Costco. I'm going to put better with food. Most Bordeaux are. Better with food. Went savory with mushroom risotto. And I'm going to say balanced the core of fruit. Core of fruit. There we go. I'm starting to slur, guys. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's move into the Chateau de Lide. This is our fourth one, and we're going to be tasting this. Oh, 70 Merlot, 30 Cab. Great. Okay, so Chateau de Lide. All right, its appearance. This is a deep, clear wine that is ruby on the nose. A little quieter, wouldn't you say? But I am getting darker fruit, dark plum. Dark berry violet, dark plum, dark berry, violet. I feel like it's just, I'm going to write down, feels a bit quieter. Although, thankfully, it doesn't smell like a dirty mop head. You know what I'm saying? God, what is that? There is mocha. It also has mushrooms on damp bark, forest floor, forest, not dead leaves, but damp leaves. Damp leaves, forest floor. Would you call me crazy if I said there's an evergreen note in there, almost like tree, like if you went into a humid or right after it rained forest? Evergreen, damp wood. Okay, that's enough. Let's put this on our palate. Oh. Plush, wouldn't you say? Tannins, ooh, ample. Do you notice how the tannins are finer? They're smaller, but they're compact, almost like they're like not quilted or stitched together, but like shoved together. Like they're dense, almost like, do you know those, for all the curly girls out there, it feels almost like a microfiber when you have to plop your hair. It's like microfiber texture. Microfiber texture, tannins. Okay, we're gonna do the acidity test. And as I just brought it up, I got extinguished campfire. Extinguished campfire. Okay, so the tannins on this, High. High alcohol is medium. Acidity? Shit, I didn't do the fuck with the acidity. Let's do it again. You're going to have to maybe take another sip, you guys. Oh, God, here it goes. I'm like, what else can I eat and drink now? Let's get serious to tell. Okay. Acidity? Ooh. Acidity, I'm going to put that at high. And notice, if you think about it, acidity makes your mouth water. Tannins dry out your mouth. So if you have too much of one, it seems out of balance, right? So if you have a high tannin wine, like this one, where they are fine, ample, somewhat astringent, you want the acidity to make your mouth water, because you don't want your mouth puckered shut like when you have a saltine with peanut butter on it. You know what I mean? So you look for that higher acidity. The body on this is medium. This is a dry wine. The intensity, I'm going to put the intensity, I'm going to X between medium and pronounced. The finish is long. Do I like this wine? Yes, I do. God damn it, Costco. Yes, I do. Okay. I'm going to have a bite of your food and then go back to the wine. If you're eating something fatty, make sure the fat goes all over your palate, all over your tongue, and then jump into the wine. It tamped down the tannins. The energy off of this wine is that it's quite wound, actually. I'm going to put wound because it feels like it's versus the other ones, kind of, clenching its butthole, as it were, but it's a little like tighter. Wound. It really tasted the way that it smelled. Taste, and that is a tasty note. Taste the way that it smells. Taste the way it smells. Okay, one more sip, and then we'll get into questions. Or I will get into questions. You guys continue to drink. Let's just evaluate the finish on this wine. So this wine, after you swallow it, what drives it? What stays on your palate? The tannins. So I will say this wine is driven, finish is driven by tannins. Did I put microfiber cloth? I did. Driven by tannins. And the tannins are a little bit more overpowering than the acidity, right? Tannins are one of the structural elements, along with alcohol, sugar, and acidity, that create the backbone of wine, that really allow it to age. So now that I've tasted all four, I don't know if you guys have, now that I've tasted all four, I feel like that was the right progression of these wines. And something that you can try also, whether it's right now or after we get off, is taste everything in reverse, because each wine might taste different. You might get different things off of each wine, because progression has such an impact on how you perceive the wine and assess the wine. Okay, so this wine is definitely driven by the tannins. So my mouth is really drying out, or my palate is really drying out. Okay, great tasting. My goodness, we did that in 40 minutes. Sorry, that's about 10 minutes per wine. That's not bad. Okay, so let's get into questions. How long do you think these bottles will stay drinkable after opened? So that's a great question. I have tasted these in the past, and they have lasted roughly a week. I keep my house pretty cool around 66, 68 degrees, which means they'll last longer. I always keep them out on my kitchen counter, and I only put its original cork in it. Unless I break it, I'll just put another cork in it because I save some corks as just in case. So I'll leave them out on my kitchen counter. Something that I learned when I lived in California, and I lived in St. Helena for 1.5 years, and I went to the Culinary Institute of America, and I used to swap house and dog sitting jobs with the winemaker at Hess, who also makes Colomé in South America. His name is Randall Johnson, and he's a fucking great winemaker, and he's cool as hell. So whenever I'd go to his house, he'd be like, Sarah, whatever you drink whatever you want that's on the kitchen counter. And I'm telling you, this guy would have 40 fucking bottles of wine open on his kitchen counter, all the different levels. And something that I learned from him as a career winemaker was a bottle of wine, you can see what a bottle of wine will be like in a year in a day. So tomorrow, when I taste these wines, because I will taste these every day, because I will see when they start to fall off the cliff, which will indicate to me how long I can age the wine. So if these last 5 days, you can extrapolate and go, I could probably age these for 5 years. But as far as keeping them open, this is a great experiment because it's not that expensive, right? They're only $8 and change per bottle. What does that come to? You get 5 glasses. Let's say you get 4 glasses out of a bottle of wine. That's $2 and change per fucking glass. That's nuts. So this is a great experiment to figure out for yourself. How do I like my wine? Do I like it when it is right out of the bottle? Or do I like it with a little bit of air on it that you could open up a bottle, your next case, your next 4-pack, you could open up your bottle 2 or 3 days beforehand, stick the cork back in it, and leave it on your kitchen counter and go, I'm going to drink that in 3 days. If you're going to do that, I highly recommend writing the date on the back label so that you know when you open it, so there's no confusion. But how long will these open? That's up to you. If you keep your apartment or house quite warm, they'll age faster. But you could drink these, I'm going to guess up to 5 days, up to 5 or 7 days. That's a great question. Why some bottles in the 4-pack have the grapes? So the grapes on the back of the label. The back label is something that is discussed between Costco and the producer. There's so much that goes into creating the labels, both the front and the back. They have to be approved by the TTB, which is the Tax and Trade Bureau. That is the American government agency that oversees alcohol and tobacco and firearms. So that's why it's different, because Costco negotiates different front and back labels with each house. Next question, great question. Can you still do the acid test if you sip and spit for the lightweights in the room? Yes, you can. Spit it out. Spit that out and then just hang your mouth open to see where the acidity falls. This is great. Oh my gosh, you guys, we had such a great turnout. And what a great Costco Bordeaux 4-pack this year. All of them 2022s. Thank you so much for joining and spending 45 minutes of your Sunday with me. I so appreciate it. As always, if there are any questions, DM me on Instagram. I answer every single one of them. And if you want to join me in Spain, please do. The link is in my bio. I have 2 spots left for that. If you would like your own Lupersom tasting journal, these are $30. You can, the physical one is $30. The electronic one is $18. And if you want to sign up for that blind tasting, blind dating, expanding your wine community and friend circle, sign up for my newsletter. The email for that goes out tomorrow. Thank you. And thank you. Now I will read the comments. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for trusting me with your palate. Thank you for trusting me with your questions. And I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody. Happy Sunday.